This is Talk is Sheep, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Society of BC, brought to you by Sitka Game. Come along as we bring conversations that matter to you into the high alpine. Mr. Rensmeg, here we are.
Hey there, Mr. Stelter. How's it going, buddy?
Awesome, man. Episode 130 frickin' 4. Can you believe it? And we're rocking into June, and stuff is happening.
It just doesn't seem to slow down around here. Every couple of nights, it seems like we're on a call, and you know, this podcast just keeps growing and growing, and great people keep wanting to come on. It's a wild ride.
Awesome, man. So this is a cool one. We hook up with Mike Defoe and say the name of the brand, because
Huto Lifestyle.
Huto, because I was like, is it Huto or is it Huto or so I didn't want to screw that up, and you were like, oh, it's like you knew the brand name, and I hadn't quite figured that out yet. So thank you for saving me there.
Yeah, no problem.
So really cool dude, man. Like anyone that checks out his Instagram, like he does a bunch of work for Alpine Carnivore, and really cool products. I love his branding. Really neat. Like, I love this whole made in BC stuff that, you know, there's a lot of really cool brands out there and popping up in BC now, and I won't mention them. Probably some of them are some of the competitors for Mike here, but really cool that he started this brand. He's got some really cool gear. These game bags are sweet, man. I love the way they look, the color, and yeah, sounds like we're going to team up with him, do a collaboration, and do an offering for the Wild Sheep Society BC. He's going to kick us some money back for our conservation work, and just another cool scenario where a local BC business is supporting us and helping us build our conservation footprint.
Yeah, it's he's wanting to do something neat, and that, you know, we talked about it a little bit offline after that podcast, and we want to roll out game bags with our logo. We'll be the first that I know of, anyways.
Look at us go, eh?
Yeah,
very cool.
We're trendsetters.
Wow. Yeah, really cool. Super stoked about that. A lot of real cool stuff on his site. So anyone that hasn't heard of Huto? So, sorry, Mike, man. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just really bad at pronouncing things. Really cool site, really cool products. And some innovation there too, which is really cool. He's got some new stuff coming out. He's talked about some of the new lines coming out. I'm not going to spill the beans on that one. You'll have to wait to see what's coming down the pipe. But just love the innovation and love the conservation-minded ethic. You know, it's so cool when we can partner with brands like what we're seeing here. Super cool that we can work together and we can increase our conservation footprint in the province.
Yeah, well, and he was very adamant about the conservation aspect. Like, he reached out to our social media. He was messaging. He goes, "Hey guys, I want to work with you," and somehow it fell on the wayside. And you know, he was relentless. He didn't stop. He's like, "Hey, let's work. I want to give you guys money." Basically, it's like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's get the ball rolling, and you can give us money.
Yeah, super cool. Great podcast. We talk about all kinds of hunting. We talk about the brand, and super cool guy. He's got a really cool trip to Mexico. We're not going to spill the beans on you there. You can ask him how his precision shooting's going on that one. But just a really, really cool podcast. So check it out. It's episode 134. And before we go there, what's going on in the sheep count world, buddy, Mr. Sheep Count Master?
Well, that's a couple of weeks. June 10th, we're rolling into the first count along the Fraser, checking on the land recruitment on the east side, not too far north of Lillooet. So looking to see the volunteers out there, maybe do a little bit of camping. It's a one-day event, but you know, a lot of people stick around for the entire weekend, and it should be good. Hopefully your vehicles have AC, and you bring lots of water when you're outside the vehicles, because Lillooet is scorching.
Yeah, so they can get a hold of you. Go over our social, Insta, Facebook. It's all there. And I'm sure we'll post it on Talk is Sheep as well. And get involved. You're the man, so reach out to Greg and get involved and support. There's conservation has so many faces, right? You know, there's money, there's time. You know, you come volunteer at a trade show, and this is a cool one because you're on the ground, you're looking at sheep, and you're making a difference. This is important work. People think I'm just going to count sheep. Like, no, We've got a $1.6 million project on the Fraser River. We've invested $1.6 million, us and our conservation partners, and we're working hard to restore a population of 24 to 2,500 bighorn sheep on the Fraser that have declined to 800, and we want to bring them back to that historic 2,500. And it's this work, this volunteer work that our volunteers are doing in the landscape that are part of that. It's not the only piece, but it's part of it. So it's important work. You're contributing to that. And, we're investing a lot of money, but we're investing a lot of manpower, a lot of man hours. And hats off to you, Greg. Like, you're up there. You're, the time and effort you put into the society. And then on top of this, you're driving up on the Fraser and spending your hard-earned cash on fuel, taking your time away from your family. I think your son goes, you take the family up sometimes, don't they? They go up as well. Right?
My son for sure will be joining me on this one because it's real close to his birthday, so I don't think I can get away with that. Might have to tie in a bear hunt afterwards.
Nice. Yeah. And that's the thing. Go up, have a great time, volunteer, put your time in, and go kill some bears. Do your part for predator control. So talk to Greg and get involved. And thank you to all our volunteers for all the hard work. And thank you, sir, for your leadership in making that happen. Very inspiring.
No problem. It's a good time out there. It's one of those things where you're not working hard on that volunteer. It's just, it takes you time to get there. And like you said, it is crucial. Those lamb recruitment, because we do them in the same spot throughout the months in the summer, we see what's going on. We can report back to the biologists, and we know right away if there's a problem. If we count a certain amount of lambs, we say we see 20 lambs and 20 ewes in June. We go back in July, we see a lot less. We go back in August, we see even more, or see even less lambs. We know we got an issue. And then we have to go back in there in the winter and, fund the biologists and help them out to do a winter count. And, it's crucial work, and we got a lot of work on the Fraser, and we're getting there. I think we're making ground, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome, man! Inspiring. All right, buddy. Episode 134 with Mr. Mike Defoe. Enjoy. This episode is sponsored by our conservation partner, Stone Glacier. Thank you, Sitka Gear and Stone Glacier, for investing in healthy wildlife and sustainable ecosystems.
Oh, we're live now. How's it going, Mike?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's greatly appreciated. So,
that's nice to meet you or see you across the computer screen here.
Yeah.
So for the folks at home, who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, so my name's Mike Defoe. I'm the owner of Huto Lifestyle. It's kind of my passion project, gotten big. I'm a senior project manager by my profession, but grew up in a little town in Revelstoke grew up there since I was born, moved away, went to school, and then landed in the Okanagan. So I've been in the Vernon area, Clone area for the last probably 10 years. So it's kind of home now for me. It's a bit of a change from Revelstoke now. That town's gone a little bit busy, but it's nice being in the Okanagan. I can't ask for anywhere better to live than BC than here. So it's good. Yeah. So
no sunshines and no place to go swimming and enjoy the weather, I'm sure, out there, eh?
Yeah, it's not a bad place to live. So it's central, and my family's still back in Revelstoke, and so it's a quick trip. And we got a cabin in Sycamore, so it's everything's here I need. So,
oh, right on. So what led you into this outdoor lifestyle and starting Huto? That seems to be a drastic change from your day job. So tell us about that.
It's. You know what? It all started probably, God, I don't want to know, 4 years ago at Elk. About 4 years ago, I started in 2019, 2020, kind of started doing it, but just started with us guys sitting around a table having beers. And it started with, hey, we should do some t-shirts and, the whole kind of lifestyle apparel thing. So, I kind of started with that. That kind of started the whole thing, and it was good. And then, slowly branched into, more along the lines of hunting game bags. I seen maybe a little bit of a gap maybe in the market. I just noticed that a lot of the game bag industry was out of the States. I mean, there still is buying them here, but so I went down that path, worked with suppliers, manufacturers, and then, slowly got into this new custom knives, these new skeleton handle knives and replacement blade knives, and just kind of branched out from there. So it's gone from something, just as a fun thing, right, to kind of getting busier, obviously with a family, having a full-time job, Monday to Saturday, sometimes 60, 70 hours a week. So it's starting to gain a little more traction. So, one day, hopefully I can just quit my regular job and do this for fun, right? That's kind of the goal, but we'll just have to see how things end up. So been fortunate to meet some good people in the industry, and that's, going to these trade shows and, been involved with a few other hunting companies. So it's been a good experience, and I look forward to what comes in the future. Just, it's fun to do, right? So if I do well at it, I do well at it. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You reached out to us on social media, and we answered you back, and it was only a couple days later, I had a buddy of mine send me a picture of one of your knives. It was like, "Have you seen these? You got to get your hands on one of these." And I was like, "Oh, well." Funny enough, we just started talking to Mike, so find out about your knives and what. So your focus on the knives is the lightweight skeleton knife, right?
Yeah. So the last one we did is kind of like it's a 775 hard coat anodized aluminum, so it's super lightweight, super durable, super strong, and the market now, anyways, in my terms that I like, is the replacement blade knife. I do pack a hard blade knife and I do sell them, but I find that I can do everything with that knife, from skinning to deboning to quartering to we were up by the Yukon border last year and shot a moose, and just one of those knives and two blades basically did the entire thing. So that's kind of where I focus my efforts, and so I do sell some hard blade stuff, but majority of the sales come from that and the game bags. So again, just that kind of gap in the market. There's other manufacturers obviously that make that stuff, like Taito's a great knife, Goats are great knives. They're all good knives, but I thought something in Canada, locally produced. They're produced right here in the Okanagan, so supporting a local CNC shop right out of Vernon here. So anodized down the coast, powder coated right here in Vernon. Some of the line we're coming up with here in the next couple months. So it's nice to be able to support the local communities, right? So, and you're putting money back into your own community, right? So I think that's a big selling feature for me, and a lot of people like that stuff, and I think there's a bit of a market for that. So
yeah, there seems to be a growing market for that. Keep it local business, and if you're doing it right here in BC, that's great. Keeping the money in town and not exporting it from overseas or importing it. Sorry, and so
there is certain stuff that I do. There's some of my line I do is manufactured. Some is manufactured overseas, like the game bags are manufactured overseas. Some of my other knives are manufactured overseas with manufacturers there. But it's, I do as much as I can local, try to support local, local stores and stuff like that. But there's that business aspect of, if you want to make it a business and be profitable and try to take off, and, there's just, it's the way of the world right now, right?
Oh, for sure.
But it just comes down to that quality control, right? So,
hey, Mike, I was wondering, when it comes to innovation, you started out with, was the game bags what you started out with, or what was the first thing you?
Yeah, kind of like shirts and T-shirts, and did some puffy jackets, tried some different things, tried some suppliers. But yeah, it was kind of the apparel line was kind of the first real line. So
how important is this, like, innovation and adding stuff, and how do you do that? Is it like, hey, there's a gap in the market here? And obviously you mentioned that with the game bags, that there's really not a Canadian product out there, for example. So are you just looking for gaps in the market? Are you looking for what you want, or how do you figure out what you want to bring to the market?
Yeah. So like when I've seen the game bag stuff, I thought, there's a lot of like stores carry them, that cheesecloth. So I thought I went down that way. But when I'm hunting and I'm looking out in the field, and I'm using products that I really like, or I'm using products, or I see gaps in products, or, add additions you could add to make it a little bit better. That's kind of where I look at. And so what can I do to produce a product that is as good, or something that can fill the void for me when I'm out in the field, right? And again, the knife thing, it's not a new industry. It's not a new thing, right? Everybody makes knives. I just thought our motto here is I like to be lightweight, compact, and I think as sheep hunters, right? I think this new knife I made for sheep hunters, right? I'm not for the general hunting, but the sheep hunters, the guys that go 20 days on a backpack hunt and they're in the middle of the woods, and you want to keep everything down to as light as possible. The game bags weigh like less than a pound for a pack of 6 bags, right? So looking at that aspect of the industry, trying to be lightweight and trying to have new products and try to be innovative as much as possible. It's, there's so many different suppliers out there that, they're all, you can't say they're all the same product, but they're all fairly similar, and making those fine tweaks and quirks to products that may be different than someone else or someone wants. It's tough because I try to do it, but I got a family, right? And I got a real job. So it's really hard to find the time to do it, right?
Yes. With your game bags, what would you say kind of sets you apart from other game bags? Where are you going with those?
So, like I said, the game bags are not different from everyone else. They're a synthetic nylon material. I think majority of game bag users now use a synthetic. It is a little bit more of it's a lightweight ripstop synthetic, but I went with a slight, they call it DWR. It's kind of an outer shell treatment, like pants and stuff have. So the outer shell of the long range, the tagged out and the bone out sets have a slight coating, but the coating is on the outside. So it's meant for the product to inside out. So the product breathes from the inside out, lets the evaporation out, and then also lets any liquid in, right? So the bags don't fill with liquid. So it's not necessarily maybe stands out. I know a lot of the other products, maybe cotton soaks in, Arguley bags are good, Vi bags, they're all good, but I tried to go that route just to keep the weather out, but let the moisture and evaporate and create that nice, that meat to be able to cool, and then to be able to break down if you're hanging it out in the field for a long time without the elements getting in. So I found that if you get water on your game bags or on your meat and you're hanging it for a long time, it gets a sludge on the outside. So that's what we've tried. The first round we had a thicker material. The second round we went with a thinner, but this last launch of game bags seemed to have kind of hit the mark with what people are saying they want to see. So no complaints so far. They got a bit of a reflective logo on them to see them at night. They come variety of sizes. So the material is just kind of maybe that stands apart from everybody else. Everyone else has their own different types of material. Some guys use cotton mix, some guys use nylon, some guys use polyester mix, some guys just go straight cotton, right? So it's just kind of depending on the application, I guess.
Yeah, right on. So what's next for Huto? Where do you see, what's your goal? Where do you want to take this?
I'd like to take it to a point where I could, kind of do it as really a full-time thing. I love my job as a senior project manager. If this got really busy and ticked off, obviously in the next little while, it'd be nice to, hire someone. I kind of partner up with another guy. He's just one of my good friends I grew up with. So he helps me a lot. So, an opportunity to maybe hire someone to go around and do the marketing and do the BD for me, right? The business development, go to stores, because every store that I go to when I get a chance, everybody's interested in the product and they want to carry the product, but it's that time it takes to get out there, show them the product. You can phone 100 different stores, but until they see and feel and touch the product, right, it's hard to sell them on that, right? So I think for me, that's my next step in terms of expanding the business, making it bigger. Been fortunate enough to work with a couple of good companies, Alpine Carnivore guys. Those guys got a hunting show on Wild TV. I've been fortunate enough to go around and do videography with them. They've helped the brand out quite a bit by using it. So that's helped. And yeah, like I said, the next thing is to get someone out there and push the brand for me, right? Be in a position where I'm profitable. I mean, I am profitable, being in a business where I can hire someone to go around and drive around for, I don't know, a month and just visit all these stores, Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, and just push the product hard, right?
Start hitting that the everlasting trade show circuit.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, man, I did 2 this year, and it's fun, but it's exhausting. Like the Edmonton show, we did like 4 days, standing around for 12-hour days. The Kelowna show was a good show, right? But some of the bigger ones, like the Parkland show, would be good. Toronto would be exceptional to go to, and just get that name out there a little bit more, right? So,
yeah, definitely would be a nice thing to get going. And are you guys looking at potentially getting your own clothing line aside from the shirts? And
yeah, so it's funny. I just didn't launch. So I just received last week some prototype camouflage outerwear. So what we're planning on doing, and I've just put in an order. We finished the prototype. We started it back in, God, it was probably November last year, working with a supplier, back and forth on the camo, the material, samples, and finally I got it to a position where I wanted it. So that lineup of, I'll say, lightweight base layers / outerwear will hopefully be launched June. So the first launch will be like a base layer hoodie, really lightweight, t-shirts, long sleeves, and then a nice lightweight early season pants. So it'll be like a polyester blend pant, 4-way stretch, treated with Polygiene, that to eliminate that bacteria and the smell, right? So I ordered that. That'll be in hopefully mid-June, and we'll launch that hopefully in time for that, that big sheep season rush come July and August. And then as well, next week I'll receive my package of prototypes for my winter lineup. So it'll include stuff like down puffy jackets, probably down puffy pants, and then like a heavier weight kind of mid to late season pant. So exciting. It's that stuff takes a while. I haven't had the opportunity to go over to the manufacturing overseas yet, but that's also next, because obviously the communication and the back and forth, and if you can go over there and sit with them and actually feel the product and do the product, the process takes that much less time. But I'm comfortable where those are now. So yeah, that's going to be coming out in kind of June lightweight, and maybe August, September for the heavyweight for winter season. So I'm pretty stoked about that, and we'll see how it ends up, right? So lots of interest so far. Did a couple posts and shared a couple things with people just to get it out there, to get some interest. And pretty good interest so far. So we'll see where that goes, right? Trying to get into a little bit of every market. I know the market's saturated. There's so many different companies that sell camo and outerwear, and you name it, but I don't know. Something I enjoy doing, right? So
yeah, well, and that's coming up quick. June, July is where can people find you and follow along your progress? Like where are we looking?
The main stuff is through I do mainly Instagram and then Facebook. So just hutolifestyle.ca is the website, and then Instagram is just Huto Lifestyle. So that's where I do most of my advertising. I find nowadays, marketing is a great tool. I've spent some money on marketing, but I think through social media influence, these days you can reach a larger crowd through the social media and not have the burden of, thousands and thousands of dollars in marketing and advertising, right? So
absolutely.
Trying to capitalize that, right? So, and again, working with the Alpine Carnivore crew, I don't know if you guys have seen their stuff, but they've helped me out tremendously through their social media platforms. So it's getting busier. I find it's a kind of you look back every year and go, I did good that year. And then you look back the next year and go, I did really good that year. And then you look back and go, oh man, you've done over a certain amount already and you're halfway through the year. So slowly taking its way, but we'll have to see where it goes. So the hopes and dreams, I can travel around and sell hunting stuff and hunt and, film and do videography and for a living, but I don't know if my wife would agree with that, right? It's 200 days a year hunting, and so, but
Yeah, it's one heck of that's a goal. It's a goal of a lot of ours, just to be able to be in the outdoors the whole time and, push in the industry and be part of that. But yeah.
Hey, Mike, what if I am going on a sheep hunt and I'm going to buy some of your game bags. So what should I be buying? What do I need set me up? So I'm looking at the website there. So I see there's a whole bunch of options. So you got like it's all super light, but then you got the long range feather light, and you've got a whole bunch of options. So if I'm going on a sheep hunt and I want to pack one sheep out with a cape, what am I looking at? What's my best bet there? What do I want to buy?
If you're a bone out guy, which I imagine if you're out sheep hunting, you're going to want to bone it out. You're probably looking at the bone out set. So the bone out set is like a 6-bag set, 17 by 29 set. So not like a big quarter set, but obviously a big enough bag that would hold a sheep quarter if you wanted to pack it out with bone. And then either, honestly, the new knife I have out, the exoskeleton knife, is super lightweight, but then the limitless knives are like, they're 3.5 inches, 4 inches long with a 2 3/4 inch blade, super compact. I put mine in my bino harness, and then I carry one of the finisher knives in there. So if you want a knife and game bags, all you need is the bone out and one of the limitless or the exoskeleton knives. So
okay, perfect. I'll pick up one of those, and that's take them out and try them out this fall, and hopefully have them full of sheep meat. So
yeah, well, we'll get you guys sent up with a package. Just give me the address after, and we'll send you both a package to try out this year. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, so no, it's I've been watching you for a long time, and I've been wanting to support you. So really stoked about this. Looking forward to it, and I like the style and everything's super cool. So it's a perfect fit. But I want to make sure I get the right one too. So
yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me too. It's nice to meet new guys, and I'd like to support your the things you guys do. So if there's any way I can help support 2% back, whatever program or initiative you guys got going on, I'd love to support that. The habitat. I've done a little bit of reading and research and talked with a few guys about that. All the the controlled burns that are going to happen this year. Just a lot of that. Giving back and trying to increase that population of sheep, because as you know more than me, it's obviously been decreasing over the last little while, starting to increase. But anything I can do, I'd love to partner up with you guys and do something for sure with you guys. So
that's awesome, man. We're all about that too. Like anyone we can work with, and our members are so freaking dedicated, and we keep growing, and they see the companies that support us and they support them back, especially if it's a good product, right? Like, and we strive to do that. Like we want to work with products that are, good companies with good reputations and then, you get it's just a perfect little synergy there, right? And you start building that relationship, and then people see, and then they support those people that are supporting us. And it's just a bit of a vicious circle. It's pretty cool. So,
yeah. No, I've been following for a while. And that's the thing for me. It's like, I want to provide, I understand, I have a business background as well. Like I understand inflation, and I look at just our world today. It's so expensive, like, just everything from groceries to trying to buy a house. I mean, you're from the lower mainland. I don't need to tell you guys I live in the Okanagan. It's expensive, and we look down there, but like to try to provide a product to the consumer that's a quality product, that's not going to break your bank, that people can use and they can like, right? That's kind of my goal. Like, I understand it's a business and you need to make money at it. But again, at the end of the day, right now for me, it's something I enjoy, and it is getting busy. So if I can make a bit of money and it gets busier, then good. But, I have a good steady job. So I love to give back to, the kids, the foundations, the charity events, that's the sort of stuff I really enjoy. And you get to meet lots of cool people, right? Like it's a big industry, but it's a small industry, right? Like, I met randomly Cameron Cotes. I don't know, he's a sheep guide hunter, and met him randomly, and we kind of hooked up and we did a knife collaboration together. And it's just, you meet people like that in the industry, and it's it's all its contacts, like, through you guys. So it's been great that way. And that's the sort of stuff we need to, is encourage more hunters to get into the industry and learn from the people going out of the industry, or just, pass that down from generation to my kids. Right. So.
Well, next year we'll get you out at our little sheep show there, and we got booths, and we'll gladly have you set up and meet some more people and expand your market.
Yeah, I was really hoping to get to that Kamloops. The Kamloops one you get last year or this year was a month or so ago.
Yeah, and beginning of March.
Didn't work with the timing, but yeah, I'd love to come to one of those and throw on one of them backpacks and run through the hotel lobby.
we would all love to have you. The more the merrier at that
sure.
Backpack night.
Yeah.
So looking at the logo on your hat, you got a nice mule deer in the background. Let's talk the stuff we all love to talk about on this podcast, and get a little hunting here. So you got an elk, looks like an elk antler on your hat there. So
elk, I love elk. I mean, who doesn't love elk? The interaction with the animals, September's over and I'm waiting for September again, right? So that's my real passion. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all hunting. I like bear hunting in the spring, deer hunting. But elk is the top of the list. We hunt a lot of the Kootenays, and we've been fortunate enough to hunt some real big ranches that hold lots of elk. So we've been very fortunate, but we've done 10-day backpack hunts. Getting out, I find that you got to get out off the beaten path, and you're with 4 or 5 guys. You go, it's not, for me, I love hunting. I love the meat, don't get me wrong, but it's like getting out there and being with friends and buddies in the backcountry, right?
So where would you start if I'm coming to the Kootenays? I've never hunted elk there. You got to go pre-season scouting. What are you looking for when you're pre-season scouting there? Because you're scouting, you're setting up cams, you're going deep, or you're just off dad's knowledge.
We like to go in typically July, August. So I like to use iHunter, Onyx. I think Onyx is now Canada. I've used that a bit. I like to look at the topographic maps, look at areas with basins with water, but then have good feeding areas. Like we found last year that the elk are really, in the last couple of years, because it's been so hot, have been really, really high up, almost in the alpine, like sub-alpine in that early September season. I mean, last year we were hunting a basin, Swansea Mountain behind Invermere, and we have a buddy that does heli guiding in their helicopters, and he was texting when we got back. He texted us a bunch of pictures from the top of these mountains, and there was herds and herds of elk on the top of the mountains. So we changed our strategy this last year, and we went up high in the alpine, and we've seen a ton of elk. No real good, because you get into that sub-alpine, it's really hard to get on them, right? Especially when you're bow hunting. So that's what we like to do, is pre-scout. We're learning constantly more every year, but when we get into that early season, it's hot. The bulls quite aren't interested in the cows yet. So we found that I found anyways, and it's not a science, I guess, but I think they're sticking way up high until that mid-September, and then they start to come down looking for them cows. So that's what I find anyways. I don't know.
So when you get out there early season, are you locating, calling, or you just listening for them at night?
We do a lot of listening at night, but we'll do a lot of just wake up in the morning, throw a bugle out there, right at dark, and just listen and wait, and then get to a good point in early season where we can sit in glass and see them. And then a lot of times we'll try to wait until they go back into their bedding area. And then, once they're bedded up in their area, we try to get in there as close as possible and then do a little more calling, because I find if you get right in their bedroom, 50 yards to 60 yards, and you cow call or let a little bugle, they're more inclined, I think, in that early season to come, instead of bugling from 400 yards away when they're not really that interested, right? So early season for us is find them, see where they're bedding, and try to get in as close as possible.
When you get them coming in, are you chirping back and forth? Are you bugling back and forth?
We do in the early season. I found mainly the little cow calls early season. Obviously in BC, you guys know our 1st to 9th is our bow season. So that's when we typically don't do a lot of bugling. Just bugle in the morning, find them, and then get in and do some cow calls. And if he is really aggressive, we'll bugle back sometimes. But I'm more of a, I don't know, I like to slow play it a little bit. I don't know. I found that ripping bugles back at him is not necessarily the best tactic. And I guess it's all about reading the elk too, right?
Yeah, well, they're dealing with some predator problems over there, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they silent up pretty quick sometimes and don't want to let you know when they're coming in hot.
Yeah, we had that last year too, bugle, and it was like instantly howl, 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 wolves just all around us. And we've had a few close calls where you howl and then you wait, you hear it, and then you howl, and it's like it's getting closer, and then you're like, holy man, and they're like less than 100 yards away, and you can't see them in the thick bush, right? So I guess there is lots more predators now these days. We found the last 2 years that the elk have been more silent than usual.
Yeah, you guys got some wolf problems and lots of big cats out that way. So
Yeah.
and that's a favorite meal of the big cats is the elk. So
It is, and when you get big herds of 30, 20 wolves, they can take out elk like no problem, right? So.
you got a favorite story you want to tell about elk?
Yeah, we did an elk 3 years ago. It was kind of our first big backcountry elk, and there was me, my good buddy Darren, one of our good players, Aaron Volpati from Kelowna here, and another guy, Andrew Phelps. And we went up this basin, and it was like we had no clue. We never pre-scouted. We never did nothing. And we scouted the maps, parked our truck in a spot where we could walk in 5 or 6 kilometers this long. And, Darren, in his infinite wisdom, said, we need to park here and go over the top of this mountain and come down. So, sure enough, we get over the mountain and it's like a kilometer of straight down 50-foot cliffs. So, we wasted a day and a half, 2 days backtracking all the way to the truck, back around. And we camped that night and ended up being like 400 yards from the truck. We didn't go anywhere, but got up the next morning, hiked up there, got to a spot, heard a bull at night thrashing kind of. So we thought, we'll just leave, and woke up in the morning and, kind of set up in the same spot. And sure enough, not with a matter of minute after daylight, a bull come charging down the hill, and I was having to be back on the camera, and Darren was up front, and he was bugling, he was screaming back, and they all came to about 4 yards in front of this bush. So the guy that I grew up with, that loads an arrow and throws it back, and the elk steps out from the bush, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is a done deal, 4 yards, right? Thud, he missed it 4 yards. And sorry, Darren, for telling the story, but we full out missed. So what he actually didn't do is he didn't put his rest up. Oh. So after he told me, he watched the arrow go over and hit the elk in the forehead in the first tumble. So I'm watching this, be like, it's a done deal. And sure, the elk takes off, and he's still cow calling, and then I can see him draw back again, and he draws back, and you guys know when you hear that arrow hit an animal, it's a distinct sound. It's a thud, like almost a caving in of swallowing. And sure enough, that elk went 30 yards, and he dropped about 50 yards ahead of where Darren shot him. So I heard the shot, the other guys, and he came back and he said, yeah, we think we got one on him. And so anyways, we went up to the elk. Yeah, sure enough, it was a good 5x5, I think, in early season. So we were pretty happy. And then we're all looking at each other going, okay, well, we're like 10.5 kilometers from the truck. And it's like, there's no trails, there's nothing down this hill. And it was like washed out riverbeds. And so get the game processed, get them packed up, and we're packed up camp probably by, I don't know, it happened like right at 5:30. So we're camped up, ready to go by 8:30. The elk's all processed. We left at 8:30, and we didn't get back to the truck till almost midnight. And the last kilometer and a half was through like a swamp, was through like thick timber, thick alder, like just bush you couldn't get through. And then the last kilometer, one of the guys steps on a hornet nest, and all of us just got eaten alive by hornets. So that was a kilometer from the truck. So we debated camping or going, and we just decided to push it. We were wading through waist high water, through rivers, it was just like nothing could go our way. So, you talked about that earlier, scouting, maybe a little bit of scouting before the trip would have paid off. But, it was a great experience. We had fun. We got back to the truck and we looked at each other. We're never doing this again. But sure enough, a couple of days later, we went back up there and hunted again. But that was kind of my first big backcountry pack out hunt. So that sticks with me. Been on another few ones. We just got back from Mexico there in January.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to do a cool hunt like for coos deer, we went down to Mexico in January. And man, what a cool hunt them deer are. They are such tough deer to hunt. Oh, you're in cactus. They're a small white-tailed deer essentially, but super spooky. And they're super hard to find. So if you ever do want to do a cool hunt, go down to Mexico, Sonora, and do a coos deer hunt.
Were you guys successful when you went down?
We were. I wasn't, but we went down with, again, the Alpine guys. They were filming an episode. So I went down to help film, and they're like, hey, surprise, you got a tag. Oh, perfect, right? Awesome. So it was Trav, Mitch's wife, and Mitch and myself, and we obviously go through a guiding company, but we hired them, but we're on a big, huge, I don't know how big. It's not a high fence ranch. It's just a big wild ranch in the middle of nowhere. We camped out there for 6 days. So the second day, Lynn was successful. Mitch shot a nice one. And then I missed on on the last day. I think I missed at just over 400 yards. So it was fun. It's unfortunate that I missed, but those guys were Lynn and Mitch happened to put down 2 good deer. So,
what's the weather like at that time down there?
Mitch told me to pack my winter gear, and I'm like, winter gear? We're going to Mexico. Like, it was like frost on the tents. Like when you wake up in the morning, almost frost, and then by 10 o'clock, you're down to like your t-shirt. So it's such a huge extreme from 0, -1 at night to 30 degrees during the day.
Oh, yeah.
But real cool terrain, tough hunting, and like it's an experience. Camping in the middle of the Sonora Desert, the sun sets every day. Like it was pretty cool to do.
So it's on your.
What are those? Sorry, buddy. What do those coos weigh? Like, they're small, right? Like it's a tough. Like it's not like a big muley at 400, right? These things are pretty tiny.
No. At the shoulder, I think they're like 30 inches.
Right.
Like a big coos deer probably weighs, I don't know, 90 pounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're 30 inches at the shoulder, but you're looking at, 8, 9, 10 inch cavity, right? And, 400 yards is not a long shot these days, but, just under the circumstances, I just, admit it, well, you'll see it. It's going to air in probably 3 or 4 months on Wild TV. So you'll see the miss, and Mitch is not afraid to tell me I missed on the show. So, they're pretty small animals, but they're pretty cool. Like they're similar, like I said, similar to a whitetail, very skittish and hard to find. You can be literally looking right at them in the bush, the mesquite, the cactus, they're just a very hard animal to hunt.
I think Jack O'Connor, are you familiar with Jack O'Connor? He that was his favorite animal. Maybe sheep was, but I think coos deer was a close second. He absolutely loved hunting them and loved going down to Mexico and being down there and the whole experience and everything. So, what? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What? I was just curious what rifle you're shooting. Just got to razz you a little bit about the 400-yard shots.
I think it was a 6.5. So it's to go down to Mexico to hunt. You can bring your own rifles, but the guy we go with, Bonnie Benito, I can't remember his exact name, but he has all the rifles down there as part of their outfit. So you can bring rifles. It's just a pain. With the Mexican border, right? You never know. Like the guy in front of us is like, didn't have one like I dotted on his paperwork, and the Mexicans charged him like $8,000 or they're going to take his rifle. So I think it's a 6.5 Creedmoor with a Night Force, a good rifle. We shot it when we got to camp, and it was shooting like loonies at 300 or 400 yards. So it's not the rifle, it's the operator.
Awesome. And did they have any mule deer down there, or was there any sheep or anything like that on that ranch?
Not on that ranch. So this year, Mitch went last year, and he goes down there every year. They hunted mule deer for 2 weeks, desert horde big ram for a week, and then Coues deer for a week. So I think he usually goes down there for a month and a half hunting straight. But they did get successful last year on the desert bighorn. But they are around. Yeah, the numbers are growing there a little bit better. But they're not what they used to. The private, I'm not exactly sure how it works down there, but I think the ranch owners get a certain amount, a lot of tags for Coues deer anyways, how the Mexican works. I think if you have a ranch, you get designated so many tags or you're allowed. And then I think the outfitters go to these ranches and seek approval to go hunt them. And then I think they purchase these tags. But there's some good bighorn down there for sure, right? I don't know how many, but yeah, Mitch has done it and they were successful, I think, last year.
Yeah, Mexico is a huge success story for repatriation of rams and sheep. And there's a lot of it, like now, guys that are offering free range hunts, like true free range hunts. There's lots of high fence stuff too, but it's pretty easy. You know, still not a cheap hunt, but it's a pretty cool opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
So.
The one guide that works with where we went Coues hunting, I think he's a biologist or he's something. He works down there and he works with all the local ranchers, and they're trying to, they're relocating, I think, and trying to relocate rams to ranches with high fences, not to hunt them, but to try to get the numbers up and then try to release them in a certain spot where there's a better success rate for the population to increase. So it's good to see that down there, right? Because I think I don't know if there's a lot of poaching and stuff down there, but it was cool to see from this guy that he explained to us on the process. They bring in sheep to a ranch or try to get them in there, then they close it. They're massive ranches, right? They're hundreds of thousands of acres, but then they try to bring the population up there, let them grow, and then release them to wild or just try to increase the population, right?
Right on. Are you doing the filming for them on a lot of their hunts? Or were you doing that in Mexico for them?
I do a little bit, yeah. I mean, as much as I can get away. I think I did a turkey last year, a moose hunt, and then the Coues deer this season, yeah. So I work them a bit as much as I can. They have, Mitch and Trav. So Mitch is the host, obviously, right? And then Travis is his co-host, and he does mainly the filming. And then they have another actual photographer, Cheese, that does it. But when I can, I like to get away from those guys. But does my wife let me go every weekend? These guys spend I don't know. Mitch probably spends 200 days a year in the woods. I don't have that much time off work. I'd love to, but I do a little bit with them. Yeah. So they've helped me out quite a bit. So great show. He tells a good story, right? It's not just, it's educational, some of his stuff. So.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what about you guys? Hunting stories? What's your favorite animal to hunt? Sheep?
We're on the wrong end of the podcast for that. I enjoy a mountain mule deer. I love mountain mule deer hunting. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
But, being in the Kootenays there, are you a turkey guy too?
Yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago turkey hunting. Yeah, we went turkey hunting. We got a few, they were gobbling like crazy, but they're it's like a little mini elk hunt but it's not an elk, right? The communication aspect of hunting them is fun, right? But we had a lot come into that 60, 80 yards, probably could have shot, but we just kind of thought, no, so we weren't successful. I think I'm going to go back in a week here and try it again, but there's definitely a fairly hefty, good population. I mainly hunt down the Invermere area, but we've hunted Cranbrook Trail, Nelson, the Cusberry, and there's turkeys all over there too. But it's fun to hunt them because it's the interaction aspect, right? You're not just sitting in the middle of nowhere waiting, right? You're actually interacting with the animals. So
yeah, are you doing the perch up under a tree and get the little stick and gobble back and forth with them and chirping.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to hear them. I mean, they were going nuts. We had them last week. There was probably been 30, 40, 50 of them around us. Like they were everywhere, but just they must have been with hens, or they must have been hung up, or maybe they're in the roost tree, or they were just not moving, right? But all around us, but nothing. So it's definitely cool to hunt them. Like if a guy, like I wasn't really into it till 2 years ago, but it's something I look forward to now, right? So
Yeah, well, I've never had the privilege to go turkey hunting, but everybody I know that does it, they swear by it. They say once you do it, you're hooked. It's hook, line, and sinker on those.
Yeah, they are fun for sure. So,
you got any spring bear plans coming up?
been out a couple times. I typically I like to wait until like mid-May. Just I don't know, just give them a little more opportunity to get a little fat on them. But I do a lot around just the Okanagan here. No real big hunts planned for bear. I take most of my time off in September 1st, probably till September 20th. But yeah, just kind of get out after. It's nice when it's summertime. It's light till 9:30, 10 o'clock. You can get off work, have dinner with the kids, and then jump out for 3 hours, right? So
yeah, that's a great time when you can. We go up north for bears, and you pick up the kids from school, and you have your dinner, and then you head out, and you're back by past their bedtime, but.
Yeah,
you got shooting light till 10 o'clock at night. It's a different hunt, but it's a fun hunt.
It is, yeah. Like, does bear get me really excited? I mean, I love bear. I love eating it, right? I do actually. I love it. I'm not a believer to hunt an animal for trophy, right? When I'm out there, I utilize every piece of animal, every piece of meat that I can, right? So it's something that's fulfilling and I enjoy. But bear is it's a predator, right? And there's so many of them that, you look at it and go, well, if you take one or two, like, when I was little, I used to shoot them all the time. Now it's like, I'll be picky and take a big one. So, the population is up. So, I mean, it's understandable. You look at things like elk and sheep and, all those animals where they're on the downward spiral, right? It's, I don't know what the just the whole around the regulations, I think in my eyes, and not for bear or anything, but for ungulates, needs to change in the next 3 years. It'd be unfortunate to see them have a closure of elk, but I think honestly think next year you're not going to see elk open in the Kootenays anymore, open season.
That'd be unfortunate. It was such a great hunt before, and
yeah,
animals were plentiful, but there seems to be a lot of struggles in that area for all the ungulates.
Yeah, like last year we seen probably 50 different 5x5s. So the 6x6s just don't. I mean, they're out there, right? I mean, if you fell off the path, they're there, but it just seems like that population is dwindling. And you look at stuff like accidental, shooting illegal animals. I think I talked to the CEO last year down there, and he said there was like, in the Kootenays alone, over 80 animals shot that were reported not 6x6 and 6x6 season, right? So, God, you figure 80 animals there. Like, it's just, I remember when they opened up in the Kootenays, it was all LEH. I can't remember what year it was. And then they just opened it up to general season. Man, there was monsters everywhere and lots of elk, right? So I think we're going to see a shift probably in the next year or two with the elk and maybe even the deer. I don't know, the deer population in the Okanagan, I think, is declining as well, but there needs to have something happen. And I think someone at a higher, position that's making these decisions maybe needs to be educated more on the process. I don't know. I don't get too much involved in politics, but I just find that someone's making a decision that may not necessarily know what's best for the animals or the sustainment of the population.
Yeah, there seems to be a fair amount of that going around, unfortunately. But if guys and gals are doing their part and partaking in predator hunting, that'll definitely help the situation.
100%, yeah. Like when we were up at the Cassiers hunting moose last year, I think there's bounty on wolves and bears up there, right? I think that was mainly for the First Nations in their traditional area. But man, we've seen so many grizzly bears up there. It was insane. Like we were hunting moose and it was like moose calls, like bang, grizzly bear. It's like, okay, come around the next corner, grizzly bear, or wolf, like wolf in daylight, bright daylight. I've never seen them standing out in the middle of the field in daylight, but there were tons up by, right on the Yukon border.
Yeah, we weren't too far from the Yukon border as well, and lots of grizzlies, seeing wolves out in the plateau. Just it was a different world than what we're used to when we head up there.
Yeah.
But you got any big fall plans coming up? You just mentioned a little time off in September.
Yeah, we'll do the elk hunt in the Kootenays. I do a big. We're part of a member-owned fishing camp up in Hackeye Pass, up by Rivers Inlet. So I go there for 2 weeks fishing every year, salmon fishing, halibut fishing. So got a fly-in lodge there. So I do that for 2 weeks at the end of August, and then I take 14 days off September 1st for elk hunting. So my wife doesn't like me come around late August. So, but I try to get my family time in, during the summer and do a lot of hunting then. So maybe back to Mexico this year. I'm not sure yet, but
Does your family get involved in the hunting aspect of things?
My little boy, he's 7. He's getting more interested. Like he'll come for drives with me, like at night, and like the bear hunting, right? Like it's light till 9:30. It's something that we can go on a cruise for, and he enjoys it, right? He comes out with me. Is he the best hunting partner? Is he the quietest? No, but he enjoys it, and I love taking him, right? Like we see a deer or a bear, he goes crazy, right? And that's being a parent and a dad. That's like, seeing your kid enjoying doing something and something I can do with them. Like when I go fishing, I do that with my dad, right? So that's something I look forward to every year. I get to spend time with him for 5 days, stuck in a boat for 16 hours a day. So it's that good bonding time, and I like to do the same with my son. So
yeah, it's excellent. Get the kids involved. They're the future. So
that's right. So got to pass on that knowledge down, right? And again, it's about that. It's just about that quality time with family for me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You got any questions for Mr. Mike there, Kyle?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So you mentioned you like to eat what you kill. Awesome. So how about wolves? Do you when you're up north, did you have a wolf tag, or I guess you don't even need a wolf tag, but do you shoot wolves, or just out of principle, just out of curiosity?
I would 100% for sure shoot them. The opportunity just didn't really present itself for a good opportunity when we were there moose hunting, but 100% definitely. If I'm out in the Kootenays, if I'm out anywhere, and if I'm elk hunt or whatever, if I see a wolf, it's not. Well, hopefully, it's not walking away, but. Yeah, to help, I guess. I mean, a lot of people look at that and frown upon it, but I mean, I would have no problem shooting a wolf and, taking the animal and taking the hide. And I don't know if you eat wolf. Maybe not wolf, but.
Yeah, I don't, I've never tried it personally, or coyote, but yeah, I don't think it's very good. But interesting, like they say grizzly bear is not very good, and I've had grizzly bear and it was really good actually, which is. I guess it was probably a berry bear, but mostly a berry bear anyway. Did you ever get a chance to hunt grizzly bear before they shut it down at all, Mike?
I did. The last year that they did that I put a draw in for an LEH. I actually got the draw up by Micah, Micah Dam. I got out for a few days. Just wasn't successful. We did see a few grizzly bears, mainly sows and cubs. So I'm not into shooting sows and cubs, right? But I wasn't able to harvest one, but definitely to get out and see them, like it was pretty cool to go. I mean, you're hunting almost one of the biggest animals in North America, right? Yeah. In terms of predators, right? But no, wasn't successful. I was part of a hunt where a guy did shoot one, and it was like I'd seen grizzly bears, but to actually see a big one like in your hands, like hold its head, it's tremendous how big those animals are.
Yeah, phenomenal. And that's crazy. Like you talked about being in the backcountry and you run into them, and it's the scariest thing you do, but it's also the coolest thing, right? Like you love seeing them from about 600 or 700 yards, but I've had them at like 80 or 90 and you're just like, oh shit, we're in for it now. Right. So it's pretty cool to watch and see them. But you were saying, like, I know in the Kootenays, they'll respond, right? Like if you cow call or or you shoot something, you hear all the time, let's dinner bell for the for grizzly. Was it like that up north for you guys too? Was that your experience as well?
When we were up north, we seen a bunch of grizzly bears. They didn't get, they didn't seem scared. Like, let's just say, like, we seen probably a couple at 100, 90, 200, 300 yards. They knew we were there, but they didn't seem scared at all. Like, I was tenting out there. I was like scared crapless because you're walking back to your tent and you're bear crap, and I'm talking like black bear piles times 10, and you're like, man, there's grizzlies here, but they didn't seem too bad. We did harvest a moose, but the spot we switched up was right on the river, so it was up the river. We got off the river, hiked up this mountain, up this little canyon, and we harvest went up there. And we happened to do it during the middle, kind of that late morning, right? So we didn't have any issues there, but they're there. There's crap everywhere, even where we go in Invermere area up in the Alpine. It's we set up camp last year up there, and sure enough, look over, there's a couple piles of grizzly crap, and we glass the next morning, and right up in the Alpine, there's 2 grizzly bears walking. So been fortunate enough not to run into one. And you guys know when you're out there bow hunting and you got a bow, I can't carry a rifle with me, or I can't carry a handgun. Like, what am I going to do with a bow?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're pretty compromised for sure. Okay, I'm curious now. Huto, you run, you've got the store, you run all these products. You're obviously, a very seasoned hunter. You're tied into the backcountry. Think about a piece of gear that you can't live without. And you can't pick your own gear, so don't tell me how to game bag or on one of your knives, but pick something. Tell me, maybe it's your pack, maybe, and what pack is it? Just, it could be anything. But when you think of the one piece of gear that you're going to go out in the countryside and you just wouldn't take an alternative, anything that comes to mind? Just curious.
I'd say late season, like when it's cold.
Yeah.
Old-fashioned Stanley wool Henley. Like,
awesome.
Honestly, they're the warmest and nicest. Early season, I love the Merino Sitka core base layer hoodie. Early season.
Right on.
In terms of like clothing, yeah. And wintertime, my heated, those orange seats, right? When you're out in the one of those. But the old-fashioned Stanley Henley when it's cold, those things are unreal.
Cool. I love it. I love the wool, and that's the thing, is when you're out in the backcountry, you run into the grizzled old guide or the grizzled old outfitter, right? And he's on the horse, and you're just freaking freezing. You're freezing, like you're like think you're gonna die, and he's up there and he's wearing wool and he's soaked to the bone, but he's warm, right? And he's just like, that guy's knows what he's doing.
The old school, they call it old school camo, right? Those old guys, the older guys, the loggers, that wear just that, and that's it, right? And they're warm. And I get cold easily, so I had like 4 layers on. But yeah, it's that's my go-to for late season for sure.
Cool. Okay, so that's all I've got, Greg. But I just want to know, if I want to buy some gear, and I'm gonna go buy some gear, where do I go to? How do I buy your stuff?
It's hutolifestyle.ca. I mainly run, obviously, online platform. I don't have a storefront, but throughout BC, Great North Precision in Kelowna carries the product. There's a few others in the Okanagan. There's a couple in Alberta. Getting more, extending their branch. Sent a package to the guys down in Vancouver. I can't remember the store's name, so hopefully they'll be able to carry it down to the Lower Mainland there. But hutolifestyle.ca, Instagram's just Huto Lifestyle, Facebook is the same. So that's where you can mainly reach the products. And guys, if you have anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly on social media and connect and chat. Just message me if you want to chat hunting, right?
Right on. And it looks like to me that if somebody wants to collaborate, if there's somebody that's a business guy or business gal, innovator that is in the hunt space, that you're looking for opportunities to team up with people and bring your product line and team up. I think you've done that a few times with some of different products there, and looks really cool.
Yeah, we partner with Wapiti. We do a little bit of work. We got actually a line of Huto Wapiti tubes coming out there on the website now. Slayer, I just did one with Slayer calls out of the States. We're doing some game bags collaboration together, so that's coming later this year. And then, we can do custom stuff for people. Like I said, it's nice to work with different companies. It'd be nice to work with guys like you to be able to give back, right? So, yeah.
Awesome.
If this motto fits good, then it works for me.
Wicked. Well, let's figure that out. We'll figure something out. I know we've been sort of touching base a little bit here lately, but I think get off the air here and we'll figure something out. If we can put something together and team up on something, it'd be pretty cool.
100%. Yeah. I look forward to it.
Cool. I'm checked out, Gregory. Over to you, buddy.
I was just going to say, awesome. Thank you for joining us, Mike, and telling us a little bit about Huto and talking hunting. That was a great chat.
Yeah, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And I'm going on a Dall sheep hunt this fall. So just
really? I'm jealous the guys are heading up to Northwest Territories for helicopter flying here in July, and I just can't make it. So I'm jealous.
For Dall sheep, or what are they going for? Caribou?
Dall sheep, yeah. They're doing.
Do you know who they're hunting with?
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Mitch. Mitch is going, but they're doing a flying with a helicopter guide. I'm not sure what company it is, but
okay. We'll have to talk to those guys. I know I've touched base with them before, but we've never put it together. We'll have to talk to them before they're hunting. And get the details. It'd be cool. So
yeah, great bunch of guys. So
wicked. Well, I appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for your time today, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.